We've already done a lot of work to come up with some strategies for solving this problem and to identify the Python types that we should be using to represent the data in our program. We're finally at a point where we have a function that we'd like to write. This function takes a training text, which is a file open for reading, a length of the context that we'll use, and a length which is called numWords, which is the number of words that should be in the story generated. And its job is to generate the random story based on the training text using that context length. It's quite a large task, and so we're not going to write all of the code to solve this task or to complete it in a single function. We're going to subdivide it into some smaller functions. We'll start by trying to identify some of these subtasks that need to be completed. You may recall that we had talked about using a dictionary, where the keys are the contexts and the values are the next possible words that follow those contexts. We are going to start by building this dictionary as one of the subtasks. Once we've built the dictionary, we can use it to generate a story that is numWords long. And so that will be the next task that we do. Once we've done that, we will have our story and this function can return it. Although we haven't defined these helper functions yet, I'm going to write the calls on the functions as a starting point. The first one is going to be used to build this context to next words dictionary. So it's going to return a dictionary. I'll make this variable appear on the left-hand side and we'll call on the function, call it build dictionary. Then that function will return this dictionary of context to next words. What data do we need to pass to build dictionary in order to have it do its task? What information does it need? Well, for one, we need to have the training text, that file containing the original text. Secondly, we need to have the context length in order to know the length of the tuples that the keys of the dictionary will have. The next helper function is the one that's going to produce the story. So we will call on it, and I'm going to call it generate story. What data does it need in order to complete this task of returning a string with a new story? Well, it needs that dictionary that we've built. It also needs to know the context length, and it needs to know how many words should be in the story. Once we've called on these two helper functions, we've got the story that we wanted to generate, and we will return it. At the moment, this code won't actually execute because the functions build dictionary and generate story don't exist. So our next task is to work on implementing those functions. Let's add the header for the build dictionary function. We have it take a training text, which is a file open for reading, as well as the context length, and it's going to produce this dictionary where the keys are tuples of strings and the values are lists of strings. So the keys are contexts and the values are the lists of next possible words that follow those contexts. Now we're going to add the header for the generate story function. This time though, I'll let you fill in the docstring with the type contract and description for that function. Let's work a bit more on the build dictionary function. So we talked before in the earlier part of these exercises about build dictionary and what it needs to do. We have this file and we talked about reading the file contents in as a giant string and splitting that string up into words. So those are the first couple of tasks that we can do inside this function definition. Once we've got the file split into a list of words, we want to extract the different contexts and add those as tuples to the dictionary. We then want to associate with each tuple all of the next possible words, so all of the words that follow that context in the list. Here's a description. For the number of contexts that are needed, we're going to get a slice of the list that will be the next context. We'll turn it into a tuple so that we can use it as a key for the dictionary. We'll get the word that follows that context, and we're going to add that context and the next word to the dictionary. One catch is that the context may already be in the dictionary. So we're going to add it only if it's needed. And then in any case, we'll add the next word associated with that context. At this point, we've outlined all of the steps for Build Dictionary. So the next thing to do for that function would be to start to implement the code. It's best if you try to do this yourself first before having someone demonstrate how to do it. So that's the first task, is work on implementing Build Dictionary. The next task is to work on outlining the steps for Generate Story. So adding the comments for Generate Story and finishing the docstring for that function.